Finding a parking spot on campus can be difficult, but students say paying for parking is even more of a chore. The meters only accept quarters. It costs $1.50 to be parked for 1 hour. Now across town, the meters only cost 75 cents an hour and take quarters as well as nickels and dimes. Half the price of campus meters. Police say she was walking south on Highway 502 to meet her friends for frozen yogurt when a driver traveling north at approximately 55 miles per hour struck her with the car, causing her to project 50 feet from the road into this field, where she was left for dead. As you can see, most of the snow has melted from Tuesday's storm, but drivers are still having to be cautious of the debris the storm's left behind.
When John showed up for work, he saw a woman pulling out these signs. That's when he knew he had to call the cops.
Obama is facing criticism from the Catholic Church after mandating a healthcare rule that contradicts the First Amendment. The healthcare rule would force private institutions such as hospitals and universities to supply free birth control to its employees. Before last week, Obama said it would be the institutions providing free birth control. But after his accommodation Friday, he says it will be the insurers providing free birth control through their health care plans. He says this will not force the religious institutions to go against their religious practices. If this law is to pass, it will go into effect August of 2013. In other news, Oregon may be following Washington's footsteps in reforming its state liquor laws. If these changes are made, it could affect government tax dollars and change about 240 businesses statewide. They say it was a packaging error that caused 1 million packets of birth control to be ineffective. The recall is for 2 different contraceptions that contain the wrong amount of hormone pills, low overall and norgestrel, sold by Athermax Pharmaceuticals in the U.S. This is what low Averil 28 should look like. With 28 pills in a 28-day period, it should have 21 hormone pills and 7 placebo pills. The affected packets can look several ways: too many hormone pills, too many placebo pills, or they could be out of sequence. They have expiration dates ranging from July 31st, 2013 and March 31st, 2014. They've been on the market since late 2011. Planned Parenthood in Eugene had 200 patients using low overall before the recall and dispensed packets with the same expiration dates. Patients were sent a letter about the recall and told they could exchange their low overall for a different contraception. Vice President of Patient Services Marilyn Hilton says so far she hasn't seen any affected packets. However, not all low overall patients have exchanged their contraception.
I would say that there's been no panic. This is modest. There's no real safety issue other than if the pills are mixed up in their pack and they notice that, that they can make an adaptation in how they take them.
This is the second recall for hormonal contraception in 6 months. In September, Qualitas Pharmaceuticals recalled 1.4 million birth control pills due to a different packaging error. If you're currently taking low Averil 28, you can exchange it at any of the Planned Parenthood locations or at your nearest health clinic. In Eugene, Rachel Cooper, Oregon News. It's a protein in wheat, barley, and rye and is found in several everyday products such as vitamins and medicine. For 63 years, Diane Connell ate gluten, not knowing it was damaging her digestive system. At the age of 45, Diane suffered from severe abdominal pain and was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome. But her symptoms only got worse. After 18 years of believing she was irritable bowel, she heard about celiac sprue disease from a family member. Shortly after, at the age of 63, Diane was diagnosed as celiac.
The dietitian I was sent to didn't even know about it. I spent 45 minutes with her telling me to mourn. Well, I was elated to find out finally after 18 years what was the matter with me. I was not wanting to mourn, I was wanting to celebrate. Now what do I do about it? And she really didn't know.
Celiac disease is a hereditary autoimmune disorder that affects at least 3 million Americans. It causes the immune system to attack the small intestine and prevent important nutrients from being absorbed.
You have to learn how to eat all over again, all new brands, and read every label of everything you buy.
According to the Celiac Disease Center at the University of Chicago, 97% of Americans with celiac disease are undiagnosed. And the longer it is untreated, the more likely it can lead to the development of other autoimmune disorders, as well as diabetes, osteoporosis, infertility, and neurological conditions such as ADHD.
Celiac and gluten intolerance mimic so many things. There's still some that don't even believe in it yet, and so a lot of people get, I guess, made fun of from their families, thinking they're just hypochondriacs.
With the advances in diagnosis and an increase in celiac awareness over the last 3 years, more people are discovering they're celiac. Local stores and restaurants are beginning to see the increase in demand for gluten-free products and are making accommodations. However, not all of these restaurants are gluten-free certified. They offer gluten-free products, but that doesn't always mean it's served gluten-free. For example, this bread is completely gluten-free until I put it in a toaster that is not. A single crumb can cause a celiac to have an allergic reaction, and because this toaster is also used to prepare wheat bread, the gluten-free bread is now contaminated with gluten. Dickie Joe's Burgers is the latest restaurant in Eugene working towards becoming gluten-free certified. They're color-coding pans, tongs, and cutting boards in an effort to prevent cross-contamination. However, co-owner Phil West says they have several more steps to take before becoming gluten-free certified. In Eugene, Rachel Cooper, Oregon News. Dead muscle cars are coming to life in Springfield. 4 mechanics at Welby's Car Care are restoring old beat-up muscle cars. Dating from 1968 to 1971, the cars they restore are some of the most rare in the world. But that isn't all they do. These 4 comedic mechanics are the stars of reality TV series Graveyard Cars, created by Welby's Car Care owner Mark Warman, and set to air next month on Discovery's Velocity channel.
When you watch Graveyard Cars, you're going to learn about how many cars were made, where they were made, how rare they are, where pieces and parts are today off of the cars that came apart 30 or 40 years ago, and why that's important. You might watch an episode that has this 71 Cuda, for example. We'll go back and find the original owner if he's still alive, and when the car's completely restored, call him up, find out where he's at, track him down, and have him actually on the show and show him what his car looks like 40 years later. Oh, cool.
This morning, Mark received his next murder victim that the rest of the crew has yet to see.
Hey, doo-doo man! Today, a 1969 and a half Dodge Super Bee 446-pack 4-speed in original F6 green showed up from Buffalo, New York. They had seen us in one of the trade magazines and wanted us to restore the car. And the neat thing about the car is that it's very original, clean, old car. It was built in 1969, but many parts on it still look almost new. The cars that we find on Graveyard Cars come from all over the world. We spend a lot of time looking for particular cars that meet the criteria to be on Graveyard Cars. And that criteria is it has to be extremely rare, extremely desirable, and extremely bad condition. You see that?
Yeah, I think that fender's been replaced.
That's the paint okay.
Yeah, that's the paint okay sticker.
You ever seen that?
Fender, though.
My car.
This is the stuff that we look for a lot of times on one of these cars, because when we put them back together, we want them to look exactly the way they did when they rolled off the assembly line. So somebody came along here with a rubber stamp and put paint okay right there on it, and that is still there today. That's unreal.
And while they all work hard to restore the cars, stress levels rise and their crankiness becomes the viewer's comedial entertainment.
It's got the H.
Oh, I'm sorry, I grabbed your glory.
Data with an automatic.
That's good. Well, no, I'm learning.
Hey,
This is a good thing. No, hey.
You know, each person has their own spot here on the crew, and I learn something new every single day from them. And believe it or not, we all actually get along very well.
Bart Simpson. Bart Simpson.
He was from Springfield too.
That's all.
But
Yeah, he was.
deep down, we all love each other, and we all have our input. We put our 2 cents in on things, but at the end of the day, it's just a big group hug. We all love each other.
What he's trying to say is he'd like to be a lot more like me.
In Springfield, Rachel Cooper, Oregon News.
Without any help.
The Michael Jackson.
And have it come out just to be an amazing product that's talked about all over the world.
Michael James.